Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kurojiri, your resident tinker and Medarot, host of the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet-fighting robot series. Now, I hope you all had a really good Christmas yesterday, and filled with lots of cheer, family time, and lots of amazing gifts. And it looks like the gift giving doesn't stop on Christmas. I was originally expecting that they were probably going to keep New Year's relatively quiet. Maybe a New Year's Medarot, or maybe something just to kind of keep the spirit alive going into 2024, so that they could maybe highlight something bigger for the game's launch anniversary later into January. But it looks like I was actually way off the mark, and I'm actually very, very happy that I am. This week around, it looks like we're going to be wrapping up 2023 on a very, very high note, as we see not one, but a pair of KBT and KWG Beetle types that have been well known by the community for a while for their involvement in the Reloaded manga, but they are officially, at long last, after nearly a year and a half, close to 2 years now, of being exclusively manga-centric, they will be officially joining the game and officially numbered as the number 14 for both the respective series. But that's not all that's to be had for us, and that was revealed for us this week going into the new year. So let's go ahead and jump right into what was officially announced for this week. Of course, starting off with the Gotra Banners to celebrate the two very special new Beetle types joining the fray starting this week. And that lineup, of course, starts us off with KBT 14 Musha Beetle, with the kits of Shooter Core, Long Shot, Charge Buster, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Fortress. Behind him, the futuristic Stag Beetle type, KWG 14 Kyren, with the kits of Hyper Thunder, Sword, Spark Strike or Charge Spark, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Soaring. Now, even though neither of these two really introduce anything new we have not already seen, it is worth noting that they have some incredibly synergetic kits with themselves and very impressive numbers to boot, which I will go into when I do their official breakdowns following this video's upload on the channel. It is also worth noting to take a minute to highlight the official artists that designed both of these models and are responsible for them. One of which is my buddy Penguin Kotak, or Escardis, who was responsible for the Oriental-style Musha Beetle, as you see here, and Pochifu Ko on Twitter, another friend of mine, who is responsible for Kyren, as you see. Now, these are not the only two that are being highlighted, but it is going to be a very manga-centric wrap-up to the year, highlighting primarily the Reloaded manga on a number of facets. Musha Beetle and Kyren officially going live is just the tip of the iceberg, and boy oh boy are we starting off on a really good note, because they have good numbers and fantastic kits that'll make them welcome additions to any team that they are put on, whether it be as pure sets or as mixed parts. And that's not all either. Joining the fray in addition to these two are reruns, very popular and notable models that also made a lot of appearances in the Reloaded manga. That includes the original, or at least now commercial models, of KBT-01 Metabee with missile, rifle, Gatling, biped legs, and the leg ability of Charge Shot, and also KWG-01 Rokusho with radar sight, sword, hammer, biped legs, and the leg ability of Charge Fight. Now, it is also worth noting that even though these are now only the commercial models, since we have the anime variants that did release earlier back in November, it is also worth noting that these models both are capable of being tuned up for extra bonuses. So they can most certainly bring the pain to the table in one form or another once they are fully tuned to help keep themselves viable and keep up with the big dogs. In addition to these two, we do also have VVL-01 Belzelga, a very popular and well-loved devil type of the series, with Restore, Double Sacrifice, biped legs, and the leg ability of Carrier. Makes him really good for being able to reverse or reflect ailments back on the attacker if they are a ailment fighter of any kind. And then in a rather interesting turn, we do also have TG00 First Ace of the Trump Cards series, with a kit of Field Control, double force control, biped legs, and the leg ability of shape memory. However, First Ace is also capable of meta-changing into another floating bipedal form by simply shedding all of her armor and stripping down to the bare essentials. In this form, she exchanges her kit entirely for Tornado, Mirror Guard, Slip, Float Legs, and the leg ability of Trigger Happy, which puts her a little more on the offensive compared to how she was before. Now, again, these are also more of the notable faces from the adventures of Kagami and Metabots of the Reloaded manga, and there's only even more to follow, but compared to the 6 spots we have here already, we do have a very nice selection of models to be had in one form or another. Of course, Musha, Beetle, and Kyren are going to be the 2 really big models that you're going to want to shoot for this week if they do appeal to you. And just as one final reminder for those that may or may not seem super enthused with the Beetles and perhaps want to stick around with, say, the Shaman King series just a little bit longer, they will be sticking around one final week. So if none of these particularly tickle your fancy and you'd much rather go after the Shaman King bots, you are more than welcome to do so. But just as a friendly reminder, they will be going away on January 4th. So that is kind of your final call, and this is your heads up and warning that they will be going away here sometime soon if you have not already collected them, or at least the bots of the 4 that particularly interest you the most. Even though the events for them will be closing this week, the Gotra Banners will still be sticking around. Now, with the fierce battles we have this week, we kind of step away from the manga for just a little bit and highlight a lot more notable models, primarily for long-range combat mastery. This week includes and highlights DOG-0 Cyan Dog with triple rifle, biped legs, and the leg ability of clairvoyance. Behind him, we have LDB-03 Ptolemy with scope, rifle, gatling, biped legs, and the leg ability of gunman. And then last but not least, RIN-0 Rhino Rush, who really likes making himself known more than once with Guard 500, double missile, tank legs, and the leg ability of super armor. Now, compared to the Gotra Banners that we have this week, the fierce battles aren't going to be nearly as high stakes in terms of what they offer or bring to the table, but they still are some very conventional and very good, well-rounded skills you really can't ever go wrong with anywhere in your team. It's for this reason, primarily, I do have to give MVP of the week to Cyan Dog, primarily for the fact that even though triple rifle by himself makes him kind of redundant, if you mix up his parts, you can really start cooking with some very well-rounded rifle parts you can use anywhere. And this especially applies if you are a newcomer or a newbie or just brand new to the game or fresh into the game in general. You need to start stockpiling on some parts to add to your library. If you're looking for long-range combat, you really don't have to look any further than these 3. But if I had to pick one that you want to focus on, primarily shoot for Cyan Dog just because of the better all-round viability that he brings and the flexibility of non-heavy rifles on your head or either arm. Ptolemy and Rhino Rush also are very good in one form or another. Ptolemy in particular for long-range parts on female types. Scope if you want free pierce damage on one shooting part if you're still under leveled. And of course Rhino Rush for tank legs with super armor if you do find yourself in need of them. Now, going back to the manga in particular, we do also have a highlight and popular rerun of the ever-popular Metarotters from the Reloaded manga, Kagami and Katsura, which are the 2 more prominent Metarotter characters. So we will be seeing a rerun banner highlighting the 2 of those with boosted rates, even though they both are considered permanent and we do have access to them almost any time in any other Metarotter banner. It is worth noting that this will be a boosted rate, so don't feel too pressured to go after these, but for a friendly refresher of what they do, SR Kagami will nullify any cooldown penalties and your damage by 20%. So this means no dodge or no defend will not be penalizing you if you use a very powerful attack such as Ghost or Ghost Shot. However, on the trade-off of taking less damage and no penalties, your movement speed drops by about 30% for that one turn. So even though you are immune to penalties, you still will have to be real careful as you will be kind of slower on that back end for that one turn you choose to activate it. Katsura, on the other hand, will buff power and heat by 75% and success by 50%, at the cost of killing your debuff by nearly 60% for that one of your cooldown by 60% for that one turn. So this means that your next turn will be hitting notably harder, it'll be notably faster going to the line, and you'll have a much higher likelihood of landing a critical hit on top of that. Landing the hit's not even going to be a question, because 50% to that is going to be very easy, but higher chance of crit's really nice. But the trade-off to that is you will have a much lower cooldown for that one turn to kind of really cool down and wear off from that overloaded power shot or power strike that you had leading up to it. Again, as a reminder, both these Metarotters are technically considered permanent, so no real rush on them. This is more of a boosted rates, but if you do manage to collect them, this will be very good to add to your libraries just so you can make use of that extra power or nullification on cooldown penalties, just in case you need it to help turn the tides. Now, in terms of event stuff ongoing, they kind of chose to tie in a manga event and a year-end event all into one with how they went about this, but I think this was a very nice way to go about it, because in addition to getting daily events, or rather daily event missions and whatnot, which again are very simple things, do the event, do the boss, do super invasions or whatnot, really easy stuff, this event allows you the opportunity to earn all the rerun events, or rather all the rerun medals from this year, including Spider, Bouncer, Guardsman, Volcano, and even just a few others as you see here as examples. You can also earn KBT-13 Tornado Beetle, which has been rerun a couple of times in year-end events like this already, so he's not anything new or special, but with the kit of Full Charge, Beam Sword, Charge Strain, and Biped Legs with Auto Charge, for free no less, it's honestly something you'd be absolutely foolish to skip out on when you're participating in this event. And of course, we also have the opportunity to earn an R-rank Metarotter Kagami that also can be added to our rosters of Metarotters for passive bonuses. So this is going to be an event you really don't want to miss out on, even if it's not for the bots themselves, because Tornado Beetle alone is really nice for the kit, for the Metaphor Essential kit he brings to the table, in addition to all the medals that we had a chance to earn through previous events but did not have the chance to snag via varying means, such as being brand new to the game, couldn't participate, ran out of time, whatever it is. This is your chance to catch up on all those medals that you missed out on through 2023 and keep your flexibility going with what they bring to the table, both with natures, skill masteries, and meta forces they bring to the table. This is an event you most certainly don't want to miss out on. Now, in terms of how the event operates, however, it will be milestone-based, which means pure sets are encouraged across the table, and they are introducing boss fight in this, but I will get to that in just a moment. For the bot bonuses and the Metarotter bonuses themselves, as you see here, Metsubi and Rokusha will give you that highest bonus at 10% each per part for the blue milestone events, Tornado Beetle at a 8% bonus each per part, and the Fierce Battles at a 6% each. The Metarotters SR, Metarotters Salt, Hikaru, and Ikki at a 15% bonus each, and a 10% or 5% bonus for R rank or N rank respectively of those same Metarotters. Silver bonuses as well, which are going to be the highlighted ones. Musha Beetle and Kairen will give you a very solid bonus there, and a very slightly lower bonus for First Ace and Belzelga as well. Now, you are kind of wondering about what exactly that strange question mark is in particular that's also in the bonuses. I'm going to touch on that in just a minute as well, so hold your horses while I keep going. Now, in terms of the boss fight bonuses themselves, because I did say and they did announce that this will be a boss fight in terms of events, there will be higher bonuses and separate bonus tiers for who is involved in that. As you see here, this mystery bot that will be revealed on New Year's on 1/1 will be a 15% bonus per part. Musha Beetle and Kairen at a 12% bonus each. First Ace and Belzelga at a 9% bonus, of course. The Metarotters at 15% each for Kagami or Katsura. 10% for SR Arase, as you see here. 10% for Kagami and R or N rank. 5% for N rank. Or 5% or 3% for N rank, R rank or N rank Arase, respectively. So, even though a lot of really big push is going to be for Kairen and Musha Beetle specifically for this event, I think much like the Shaman King collaboration, this event isn't going to be very gacha-based in particular, because a lot of the bots that were highlighted are ones we already have or could very easily earn in one form or another. And that's not touching on the Metarotters either, since all of them are permanently available in the Metarotters pool, and they're just like I said, just a highlighted rate for Kagami and Katsura. So Even if you don't have the best of luck going after Musha Beetle or Kairen, but manage to have already collected Kagami and Katsura, well, you really don't have to worry too much because you'll still be getting a bonus all the same with that. But, just again as a final touch and reminder, this event is boss fight, but it is also milestone based, so pure sets encouraged when you do assemble your teams to go through with this. For the most part, you may have to build 2 separate teams, but depending on how you do it, you may or may not have to, but do be prepared for that outcome depending on what's in your library and just how the gacha decides to treat you as we crest into the new year and wrap up 2023. Now again, with this mystery bot, they did officially highlight that we have no idea who it is. All they did give us was this teaser here with a very interesting hint by the producer of the Medarot Reloaded manga themselves saying, "You want to hear the rest of the story, don't you?" Which is cause for a lot, and I mean, oh boy, a lot of excitement, because we already had a hint at Medarot Day that this was certainly not the end for the series, with that teaser of a strange Beetle type in front of Cross Messiah on the anniversary banner. But now we have a teaser for another model on top of that for this particular event to kick off the new year. But I do also like to believe this might just be a clue that we may or may not see a new volume of Medarot Reloaded, or rather a new season or a new story in particular. Now, personally, if it were me, I would really love to see them maybe do like an anime officially for it, or even another manga volume, or possibly even a new game, if I'm being completely honest, because it's all leading up to something very exciting going into the new year. But, of course, I unfortunately don't have any ears on the inside, as much as I'd really love to get to know Producer-san and everybody closer. I unfortunately don't have those connections, unfortunately, but it's still all the same going to be very exciting as we wrap up 2023 and start up the 24 with a very promising note of Medarot's future going forward. Now, the last thing to do game-related is that the announcements, that the results for the popularity contest that was going through mid-December are officially in, and we do have our top 10 list from there. The top 10 list, as you see here, is Cheerful Bunny 2, Gothic Mate, and Leolila 2 at top 3 places, 1st through 3rd. And 4th through 10th, which will be the highlighted for the banner, will be Black Beetle, Shushu Pop 2, Croit Bison, Cheerful Bunny, Leolila, Arc Beetle D, and Black Stag. Now, to celebrate the popularity contest, we will be getting a specialized banner which will highlight and boosted rates for these 10 particular models. So, even though you may or may not have gotten the model that you may or may not have wanted, which is perfectly fine, an extra chance to snag them or even a piece of them through this specialized banner will still be made available to you, as you see here. And it is nice that all 3 of the Metatuber girls had made it on the list in one form or another. Bun2 and Leah 2 twice in particular, with their old and their new bodies. Even though Shushu 1 didn't quite make it, which sucks, but that's okay. It is still going to be really exciting, and I'm perfectly okay with the top 10 list that was amassed from the popularity poll. Now, as much as I really don't like to highlight this particular Joker on my channel for a lot of reasons, honestly, I do believe this is a very big piece of news that makes it worth covering in particular, just for the sake of keeping you guys in the know of everything that is ongoing. And as you see here, the Metabots Scam page run by Kevin Kamadran has been officially changed, and we have noted very, very easily and very quickly that a lot of the pages on app stores and on websites and Facebook and Twitter pages and whatnot have either been completely removed and deleted entirely, or they've had their name changed to this MyBots, as you see here. Personally, I would have rather followed in my friend Tofu's footsteps and rather he name it Kusobots instead, but that's entirely just my personal opinion on the matter. But this is good news for us, folks, because it means Kevin has officially raised the white flag. He has no fight in him going on at this point. It's made it very clear he is dropping the name anything to do with Metabots as a whole, and that is a complete, sound, and utter victory for us as a Medarot community, and we have every reason to celebrate not just the 26th anniversary and a very promising end to 2023, but an even more so promising end going into 2024, now that we no longer have this parasite of a scammer now hounding us by holding a name over our heads that he doesn't truly own. So in my personal opinion, good riddance, goodbye, good luck with whatever you decide to do, I guess. Why he's not in prison at this point is beyond me, but I digress. This is officially goodbye, good riddance, and a close on this chapter. Now, this is not going to be the end of my coverage on it. I would love at some point, maybe closer to the end of January or so, once this all officially settles down, to kind of do one final coverage of an epilogue and a follow-up on this whole thing. So we can really lay all the details out there, just how important this was and how massive this was, not just to the Medarot community, but as a whole, just how much of a expose and an absolute scandal that this thing was. Because a lot of stuff that I covered and talked about in past episodes and whatnot is really just the tip of the iceberg. And boy, oh boy, is it a juicy story. But I will keep you guys posted on that when I am able and ready to host that follow-up epilogue on that. So do stay tuned on that. Again, probably closer to the end of January or sometime after. I'll be ready for that, and we'll see what can happen going forward. Now, back to the official Medarot business. Goodbye and good riddance, Kevin. On terms of Project Rising Beetle stuff, we are still always looking for translators to assist us with any translation project and endeavors. Right now, Medarot 3 is currently still in a tentative 100% completion, mostly just grammar checks and some minor spelling bugs and everything to look into and fix, just to make sure everything's up and running. But then after that, it is officially done. We can put a tag on it and say it is finished. We still would love to work on other titles such as Medarot 4 and 5 and Navi, and even some of the more modern titles as well, but we need help to be able to do so. So if you are knowledgeable in coding or cleaning or Japanese and have some time on your hands, I would absolutely love to hear from you, and we would love to have your help. Same can be said if you perhaps know somebody who would probably be willing to help out with that. Definitely send them my way or have them join our Discord in the link provided below. We can most certainly get them in touch with the right people to fill them in on what has been done and what still needs done up to this point. We've been making fantastic progress on fan translations, but again, we just need the manpower and the time to be able to do so. So if you'd love to hear more stories on the official side of what happens in the Medarot games, this is the opportunity to do so. Now, in terms of art highlights here on the MNN, I really could have highlighted a lot of newer art that I've been seeing recently in this past week or so I like to retweet, but because we did get a particularly highly anticipated pair this week, as you see here with Musha Beetle and Kyren, between their artists of Penguin Kotak and Pochi Foucault on Twitter, I just had to highlight them again in my just being honest, because they are both good friends of mine, and I'm very proud and very happy to see that their designs were made official, not just in the manga in particular as upgraded bodies for Metabi and Rokusho, but also officially and finally being produced in Medarot S with 3D models to officially join the families and the fray. So definitely give both of these artists a follow. Fantastic work, and once again, congratulations to the both of you for both of your entries, not just officially making official canon, but no less being made into official Beetle types and part of their respective families. So wonderful work, congratulations, and I'm very excited to see what Musha Beetle and Kyren will bring to the table once they are officially dropped and ready to fight in the world of Medarot S. But with that being said, I do believe that covers everything for this week's episode, aside from, of course, that I am open for commission, as you see here, just as a friendly reminder. But with all that being said, if you'd like to keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action or follow us further, you can reach out to us on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page, or the Metabots Forever community on there that I do also run and manage, and keep in the know with anything related with our favorite fighting robots. You can also join us on Discord in the link provided below, and this will keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action. This includes any new links to merchandise, fan art, contests, my weekly episodes, or anything big or pertinent related to the Metabots series as a whole. The Discord's the first place you're going to hear it before it goes anywhere else across the net. You can also reach out to me personally on Twitter at ItsuGamiKura, so if you have any questions or feedback or comments, or would love just to stop in and say hello, I leave my DMs open for that very reason. Same can be said if you are perhaps looking for a commission for art or 3D models. I am more than happy to get back to you on that and see what we can make happen. Additionally, if you are a streamer, VTuber, or YouTuber and would love to collaborate sometime, that means having you here on my channel as a guest host, which I would really like to have more of going into 2024, and not make it just a regular thing like once or twice a year, maybe 2 years at most or whatever. I would love to have more guest hosts, and that means even if you aren't as knowledgeable on the series or just want to try to get your feet wet and hop into it, I would absolutely love to have you here on the show. Or if not, me stopping in on yours for a friendly chat or a game or a party game, I would love to do that as well. So again, reach out in those DMs and we can most certainly make something happen. Lastly, but most certainly not least, definitely give Pochifuko and Penguin Kotak a follow as well on Twitter, not just in support of the Medarot community, but also in support and in celebration for both of their babies officially joining Medarot S with very beautiful, well-designed 3D models and very nice, synergetic, and powerful kits to bring to the table, and maybe not change up the meta, but just make it all that more spicier with the kind of power that they can bring to any team that they are put on. But with that being said, as always, I do appreciate you all for stopping by, just as you always do. And until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network. See you next year!